Hello YouTube, welcome to a new Zen-Anatomy video. Today I want to give you an overview and review of the Roland Zenology Pro. Zenology Pro is a synthesizer plugin that is part of the Roland Cloud subscription service. So you can either subscribe to the service or buy a permanent license of Zenology Pro. So you can use it forever. And what is here nice, Zenology Pro is based on a Zen-Core engine. So which you know already from the hardware synthesizers, from the MC707 and MC101 groove boxes, from the Jupiter X and Jupiter XM, from the Fantom, and more. And what is here for me great, that you can use this plugin and you have all the sounds you have also in the hardware. So if you don't have now the money to buy the big Jupiter XM or Jupiter X, you can buy the Zenology Pro or subscribe to the Roland Cloud and get all the sounds from these hardware devices in a plugin in your DAW, and that's quite powerful. And as you can see, here's the interface of Zenology Pro. To be honest, it's a bit stale, it's a bit old-fashioned to me. It could be a bit more modern. And on the right side, you can see here, it has a 4-part layer engine. So it has per part, so partial 1, partial 2, partial 3 and 4. You have 2 oscillators, then you have a pitch envelope, an LFO, the filter, and also a filter envelope. And you have here also the amp, so that's the amplifier with an amp envelope and the EQ. And you can also change the range control here, and that makes it quite powerful, so you can split the sounds over your complete keyboard. You can, for example, take the first partial and play it on the absolute left side of your keyboard from C1 to C2, for example, and then split it through your entire keyboard, what makes it quite powerful. And if you go back here to partial 1, you have here the preset manager, and you can see you have tons of different sounds here. And if you install all the sounds, really all the sounds, you get over 5,000 presets, what is pretty powerful. And for each patch, you have here also 5 microcontrollers. You have cutoff, resonance, attack, release, and vibrato. That's quite handy. Then you can change from the sounds from mono to poly, unison, legato, and portamento. For each part, or in the Roland language, partial, you have one oscillator, and this can be add a combination of two PCM samples, of a virtual analog oscillator, a PCM sync, so a PCM sample with sync, then a supersaw or a noise generator. Let's start in here with the PCM, and you can choose here two different PCM samples, and you have here a lot of different PCM samples. So you have here piano, you have here vintage e-pianos, you have lovely organs, you have melodies like vibraphone, to a bell, plug sounds, guitars, and nylon, you have acoustic bass, you have electric bass, synth bass, you have string ensembles, you have staccato, you have brass, you have brass ensemble, you have lovely flutes, you have lovely choirs, then you have also sing oscillators. So you, as I said, you have virtual analog, but also many PCM PCM waveforms from different synthesizers. Then you have synth patches from bells, so even with samples from the D50. Choirs, pads, and so on. So you have effects, loops, drums, percussions, and so on. So there are tons of different sounds. And what it makes this PCM engine quite powerful, you can combine sounds with two different. So you can take a piano and I take a pad sound or a choir. So you can combine really different sounds, your piano with a synth sound or string sounds with a lead sound. So you can create quite complex sounds. And of course, don't forget, you have 4 parts here. Then you have here virtual analog, which is classic virtual analog waveforms. What is cool, you have here FET, so you can change the waveform, so you can morph it. You can bend it. You have for each waveform the wave gain, the pulse width. And the pulse width is also available on not pulse waves, what is quite cool. You have also the Juno. And 3 more. And I personally don't like here that the wave gain creates a bit of clipping, so it's not smooth. So if you change here the gain, it clips, and that's not that nice. I would love to see this that is more smooth and that you don't hear this radical change. Then we have here PCM sync, as I said already. Then we have Super Saw, you know, from the JP8000. And of course you can also change here the detune. And you have your noise generator. Other side, you have here also a pitch envelope, what is quite cool for creating sync sounds or so. So you can also change here the chorus tune, the fine tune, the random, and add LFO1, LFO2 and an envelope to it. So the envelope here. And not to forget, you have here on the top also different other parameters for tomato time. The analog feel gives the oscillator a little unstable character. Then you have your chorus tune, fine tune, unison detune, and also size. Yeah, the unison size is also clicking, so hopefully Roland can fix this. Then you can link 2 oscillators together, so partial 1 and partial 2, and partial 3 and 4. So you can add here sync to it, so you sync the oscillator 2 to 1 here. You can add a ring mod. You can also add the X mod, which I'll show you in a sound demo, and also the Xmox 2. And all this brings some cool characters to the oscillators. Then you have here this pitch envelope. So we have chorus tune, fine tune, random, then with depth, LFO1, LFO2. And especially if you're using now the ring mod or the sync, if you add here this the envelope a bit higher, you get this typical sync sound, which we love from Jean-Michel Jarre and other artists. So don't forget to try this out because it sounds lovely. So I took now here a soft pad sound to demonstrate you a bit the filters, and you have per part or per partial one filter, so a low pass, band pass, high pass filter. What is a bit a shame in my opinion is that Roland don't give you more information about which kind of filter they use here. So it's not named as a Jupiter 8 or a different filter. There's the low pass filter, you have the band pass. Then high pass. Then if you had a PKG. Also with 24 slope. And you have a second low pass filter. As third one. Then you have a fourth one, so there are a lot of low pass filters here. Then you have one from the JP. Then you have the famous smoke ladder filter here. And you have the from the Prophet 5. Also -12, -18 and -24. And it's quite nice to see that Roland has built in filters from other synthesizers, from non-Roland synthesizers like the Moog ladder filter, from the Prophet 5, so that's quite cool. Let's stay with the filter. So the filter has also an envelope, and this is an ADSR envelope, and you can change this here very nicely and very precisely. And you can change here also the envelope depth to it. So also here, not a problem. And interesting, you can change in the envelope also the cutoff key follow and the cutoff velocity sensitivity. And if you want to see now every filter envelope, because you have 4 partials, you have also 4 filter envelopes. You'd press only on the filter, and you can see all the filter envelopes or all the filters. And here you can then see all the filter envelopes here nicely. So it's very easy here. Let's go back to partial 1. And you can also modulate the filter here with an LFO1 and LFO2. So you have here you have also 2 LFOs, as I said. And each LFO has different waveforms from sine wave, saw and others. And more complicated ones also noise. And the most interesting ones is here the step modulator. And this allows you to create step modulations on your filter envelope, for example, other parameters. Let's try this out here. This allows you to create then interesting movements to your sound. And you can also set here the tempo sync to tempo sync it, and also the key trigger. And of course you can change the rate. You can also add a delay to it, so it comes a bit later in your sound. And you can also fade it in, what is quite nice and quite handy, and something I really love, to making sounds, and then it comes a bit later, the LFO. And you have also an offset, so a quite powerful dual LFO here, especially with the step modulator and the many different here waveforms to choose from. And also you have also, what is for me very nice is here, that you have here also nice visualization of the waveform. Last step on the modulation, you have also an amp envelope. It's also here an ADSR envelope, also quite basic, with level, with pan, with the velocity sensitive. And this one can also be modulated with an LFO or with the second LFO. Plus you have in the amp also an EQ, what is also a clever addition, because sometimes you want to cut out some frequencies, and so you have a built-in EQ in every partial. And in the final, you can add a multi-effects processor to the global sound. This means you can add only one effect to the partial 1, 2, 3 and 4, and not to individual partials. What is a bit shame in my opinion. It would be cool to add effects to partial 1, partial 2, partial 3 and 4. So you can open it here with the MFX button here. So I put here a soft bass, and you can see this sound has a Juno 106 chorus activated. Yes, that's really nice that Roland also include a Juno 106 chorus. And you have also your different modes. And you have filters, different filters for mastering your sound. It's less this classic filters, but more for adding character to it. Phaser, flanger, different flangers, chorus. You have your chorus, hexa chorus, the space D. have modulation, so ring modulator, tremolo, a slicer. That's very typical Roland. Then if you have a different drive, some overdrives, distortion. You have here a Fantom, saturator, a VAM saturator, which is pretty impressive, the amount of features here. Then you have your compressor limiter, different delays, even a tape echo. Then you have a looper, lo-fi, so like a bit crusher, pitch shifter, and different combination like an overdrive in chorus, a distortion in chorus, a distortion in delay. An enhancer in the flanger, chorus and delay. There's no rings and clouds, no, but maybe you have missed something. Yes, it's no reverb included, and that's something I don't understand. Maybe Roland, can you tell me why you include no reverb in Zenology Pro? I don't know, but it's missing. Maybe they will add it later. And I really want to see in future that you can add more effects than one at the same time. And on the right side here, you have the option to map different parameters to CC values. One more thing, if you go now here to the browser, and then you can see on the bottom here the models. These are the model expansions that Roland sells individually or as part of the Roland Cloud. And these are emulations of the famous synthesizers of the Jupiter 8, JXHP, the Juno 106, and SH101. And these are not quite cheap. They are, I think, €149, what is for me quite expensive. And this brings then the synthesizer sounds and the complete emulations to the Zenology Pro synthesizer. So if you press now on Jupiter 8, I take here the Berlin Night example, you see the Zenology Pro change to Jupiter 8, and then I click to edit, you get here the complete interface of the Jupiter 8. So you can see you get all these sounds and all these engines on top if you buy now these model expansions. But if you buy Zenology Pro only as single license, you get only the sounds of Zenology Pro and not the model expansions. In summary, one can say that Zenology Pro is a versatile synthesizer plugin, easy to use, a powerful engine, and tons of different usable sounds. From PCM samples, virtual analog, to super saw, from the JP8000, everything is on board. Everything you can expect from a synth workstation for players. But in various places, there's still room for improvements or expansions for the engine. Browsing through the library, I noticed that the focus on the sounds was heavily on Roland's well-known PCM samples. That's not bad. It also used a little less CPU, but more sounds would have been more interesting with the virtual analog or supersaw side. Yes, the CPU performance is much better than the plugouts, but the meter went a little higher in some patches, but everything is in a good range. In terms of sound, Roland doesn't fool anyone. They nail it, it sounds fat, authentic and versatile. These are typical bread and butter sounds you expect from Roland, not the really extreme complex sounds. The engine is not designed for that because it relies on classic subtractive virtual analog synthesis. Extraordinary synthesis types like granular, additive and so on are not on board. If that's important to you, try Omnisphere 2 or Falcon 2, the main competitors to the Zenology Pro. The pricing policy must not be forgotten here. Zenology Pro is available as part of the Roland Cloud subscription service or as lifetime key. The advantage of the subscription is that you can use the full possibilities of the plugin. For example, the relatively expensive model expansions are already included. Against this price policy speaks that you are constantly in an endless payment loop, and when you stop paying, you can no longer use them. But if you put the requested price together with the content, the price can be seen as fair. Personally, I'm not a fan of subscription myself, as I prefer to be a plugin owner. Nonetheless, Zenology Pro is a great plugin, as it certainly still has potential for further development, especially in the interface and synthesis design. It always depends on how much power the hardware devices can deliver. Don't forget the prerequisite for the Zen-Core concept to work is that both worlds have the same engine, so let's see what will come next. But I can recommend everyone to try Roland Cloud for a month for free. The plugins and the sounds are a lot of fun. So I hope you get a good overview of Zenology Pro. Let me know what you threw on Roland Cloud and Zenology Pro, yes or not. It would be good to hear your opinion. Big thanks for watching and for continued support. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a positive thumb if you enjoyed this video. Big thanks for your support and hope to see you again in one of the next Synth Anatomy videos. Bye!